People always saying, I buy a Toyota pickup truck. Well, this guy's got a brand new 2024 Frontier. He wanted a good, reliable truck without a bunch of crap on it. See, it's got a real emergency brake look. Not some electronic pile of crap. I like that. Let's have a push button start. You can't have everything. As we look under the hood, it's a 3.8 liter. It's a good size. It's got 310 horsepower. It doesn't need turbos. It's going to last longer that way. Hey, when I was a kid, the V8 engines only put out a couple hundred horsepower. There's the V6. It's got plenty of power. These engines can last a really long time. Unlike Toyota that says they're going to get rid of the V6 in the Tacoma. Nissan's saying nothing about getting rid of their V6s in their pickup trucks. It's an engine that people want. The 4 cylinders just don't have enough. If you're pulling, this is a 4x4, so you can go wherever you want. You get plenty enough power to get in and out. The 4-bangers just don't cut it. That's why he bought this vehicle. And so far, he's totally happy with it. Now, he got 23 with a trailer hooked up that he unhooked so I can have more fun driving it around. And you really don't feel the pull on it either. They've been making these things for quite some time. They just never got to the popularity of the Toyotas for various reasons. They used to be really ugly and boring. They never styled them up, and so people wouldn't buy them. Well, this is all styled up now. I guess they finally learned their lessons, right? Now, this thing is a 9-speed automatic, and you know what people always say, even in the Toyotas, especially in the Fords and GMs, they say they're always hunting for gears. Not only did this not hunt for gears, but he didn't have to put it on the tow button. When he was towing it, it still went perfectly fine. So, unlike Nissan's horrendous front-wheel drive Jatco transmissions that hunt and fall apart, this is an actual transmission with 9 gears in it that seems to have been pretty well designed. You really have to put the Nissan trucks to one side and their cars on the other, because their cars have horrible automatic transmissions, but their trucks, they always had pretty good. Even the old Pathfinders, their automatic transmissions were decent, you know. They're making a rear-wheel drive, and then now this is front-wheel drive added to it because it's 4x4. Their basic transmissions on these things are actually quite well. They just never sold all that many of them because, in truth, Nissan wasn't any good at marketing them whatsoever. And as per usual, it's a modern engine, right? It's got a timing chain, doesn't have belts, and crap on it. And if you look down there closely, this thing's actually got working room. Look, you can put your hand off and down. You just take the plastic crap off, right? So let's go inside, take a look. He got it with all the trimmings. Let's start her up, take a listen. Runs I clap the brakes on because I pushed it on there. We'll take the brake off. Chain switches, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel high, and 4-wheel low. That's simple. That's all you got to do. Now, it's not a racing truck, right? So it does have the capability. You can put it here, you can shift it up and down if you want. But I mean, let's face the facts. People aren't really racing this thing around. Plenty good enough the way it is. If you do want to really go hard, you can shift it by yourself. Got all your controls on the steering column. Cruise control, very simple to operate. You can get it with your right thumb, no problems at all. And you can go through the computer system, stereo system. Got USB. It's got a C. And as we look under, nice solid frame, real frame. This is a body-on frame truck. This isn't some unibody bit of nonsense. Check out the paint. I mean, that is a beautiful blue. I really like that blue. These guys are set for traveling. As you can see, they're all loaded up. So roll up the window so you won't hear too much noise. Nissan Intelligent Mobility. Nice backup camera there. Got a lot of view. Got a nice GPS set up here. And with that 300 plus horsepower, this should do pretty good on a little drag strip when you get up there. Now it's nice up in the air. It's not outrageously high, but you don't have to worry about flood water. And since it's a modern truck, they handle a lot better than the old ones. Look, we're cornering relatively quickly. You don't need a tire squeal or anything. They've upgraded the suspensions on these things. Everybody used to say, the Nissans, they're boring. They don't have everything people want. Now, you'll see, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that a Ford or a GM has. You know, all these dancing tailgates and all that crap. But hey, gives me confidence driving it. We're gonna take it out to the drag strip. Nobody coming, so here we go. It's a relatively heavy truck, but it's got 300-something horsepower. So, come to a stop. There's nobody right behind us yet. So, on your mark, get set, go! It picked the front end up. Nice sounding V6. Smooth as silk shifting. Got up to 65 pretty quick. And let's say you want to pass somebody or we're going 50, we'll floor it. You can see it picks up pretty good for passing people. No problems with that. It is made here in the USA, and I gotta say, I don't hear rattles or anything. It's a lot quieter than a Ford Ranger, I can tell you that right now. To me, Nissan's gone a step up in this truck. And as I said, it's not doing any tricks, turbocharger or anything. This is a naturally aspirated V6 engine. And when they got this much power, hey, I gotta say, they did a pretty good job. Look, we're supposed to be going 20, we're going 50. And I don't have any problems at all. I gotta say, they pretty much hit the nail on the head with this truck, as far as I'm concerned. It's got plenty of power, and it's quite comfortable. These seats are very comfortable, as is the ride. I gotta say, I haven't been in too many 4x4s that rode as smooth as this. Usually they're quite a bit rougher. They've obviously put some thought into the design of the suspension of this thing. And the owner said when he's driving it with that trailer, he didn't even feel there's a trailer on the back. No, he's got 300 something horsepower, wouldn't bother it all that much. It's not hunting for gears at all. It shifts at the right time, it doesn't go up and down and wobble. Got this 9-speed transmission pretty down pat too. As I said, it's mainly their front wheel drive cars that have crappy transmissions at Nissan. Their rear wheel drive ones, well, it's decent transmissions. You know? And all the Z cars, they were all rear wheel drive transmissions, and they were decent transmissions too. It's luxurious, it's got dual climate control, great AC heating system. And as I said, it's not hunting for gears, and watch this. When you slow down, it doesn't have any problems. Very smooth transition down to first gear. It's a pretty smooth ride for a four-wheel drive pickup truck. So what do I think of this brand new Frontier? Well, I'll tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm going to tell you, the next time somebody says, hey, Toyota's not making a V6 in their Tacoma anymore, you know what I'll tell them? To buy a Frontier with a V6 engine instead. We live in a competitive world. And if one company decides, oh, we don't want to make those anymore, hey, somebody else can step right in and make something that somebody wants. It isn't like there's only one choice. I like the Toyotas, they last a long time. Frontiers, they also lasted a long time. Just that everybody's got the name with Toyota and they all want a Toyota. Hey, he got exactly what he wanted for 45 grand or so. But when you consider that's the average price of a brand new car in the United States these days, hey, not bad. I had a guy come over here the other day and he bought a Dodge. They're Rams now, right? To me, they're still Dodge Rams, but they call them Rams. He bought a Ram. I said, why did you buy a Ram? He said, because I went to the Ford dealer and they wanted $81,000 for a new one. So I can't blame the guy, you know? Either going too high price or they're not giving you what you want. Find a company like this that's still making the 6-cylinder engines, naturally aspirated. We don't need turbochargers. 300 something horsepower. You don't need a turbocharger. It'll run fine the way it is. And not only does it run good, but hey, it's really a good looking truck too. They finally wised up at Nissan. And it's not an ugly truck anymore. So, hey, if you're thinking about one, I'll tell you, my advice is go road test one. See if you like it or not, you know? You can't hide hunting gears, you know? You get in a lot of the Fords, as soon as you road test them, you feel them hunting for gears. This baby doesn't hunt for gears at all. So, I gotta give them an A+ on this one. Brand new 2023 Ridgeline. Is it good? Is it bad? Why did the guy buy it? Of all the trucks that are out there? Well, you're going to find out so you can make a wise decision yourself. He had 4 Toyota Camrys. That's all he had, right? Average 10-year each. Hey, he's gotten his money's worth, right? So he drove the Camry and he thought, I'll try out this Honda Ridgeline. And his friend said, oh, they're going to think we're girlies driving this thing around. It's a girly car. It is not a girly truck. It is what you might call a specialty truck. Honda said they built them for Honda owners that want to get a pickup truck. Well, he was a Toyota driver and he didn't get a Toyota pickup. He got this because he likes the way that this thing rides. Because unlike my son's Tacoma, which has a full frame, this Ridgeline is a unibody construction. It rides much better, the Honda. And with the Honda suspension system, he got in this thing and he said, I'm not even gonna go to the Ford dealer. I'm gonna buy this thing. Now you might say, why didn't you get a Ford Maverick? Well, the Maverick's built in Mexico. This is built in the United States, right? He didn't want to mess with something that was brand new made in Mexico. I don't blame him. And now that I see they've been out for a little while and they're having a lot of problems, probably a smart move. But these only come in all-wheel drive. And Honda makes pretty good all-wheel drive systems. He's not going to get stuck. He said it went fine in the snow, the one big snow in Tennessee, a few inches, right? He's not pulling tons. You can pull 5,000 pounds with this, but that's not why he got this. Something's going to last a long time. Hondas generally last a long time. He's not pulling a lot of weight. He didn't care about a gigantic bed. Now, as you can see, it's got a regular tailgate, but there's a little handle and voila! The best of both worlds. And since it's a Honda, it's probably not going to break. Now, under here, as you can see, nice space. There is a drain under here. So you can use this as a giant ice bucket if you want, or leave the drain shut. You can put your luggage and suitcase in it. And check this out. What's hiding in here? You got yourself 115-volt receptacle. One guy uses a TV here, has tailgate parties, and watch this. Our speakers hiding in here. Check it out. Well, what do they think of next? Now, when you look at it, you think, oh, that's all plastic, but I don't know, the sound goes through it. It sounds really good. So, typical Japanese fashion, Honda keeps improving these things. Now, they're not like Ford, Ram, everybody else. Oh, every few years we got to refresh it, we got to change it. No. They really don't do that. But see, Honda's not competing with Ram, Chevy in the pickup wars. They know it. They generally sell around 40,000 of these every year, like clockwork, right? Because people buy them, they want a particular truck like this, they're totally happy with it. He wants a nice ride. He doesn't want a full frame that doesn't ride as nice. And he didn't want a chance at Maverick. I don't blame him. He made a wise decision. The Maverick, all the problems those things are having, got a very reliable V6 Honda engine, the 3.5 liter. It does have that stupid stop-start feature. So he watches my videos. Every time he starts it, he pushes turn off the start-stop. So it doesn't. He drives this thing for Uber. He doesn't want the annoyance, and he knows that's going to wear your engine out faster. It's just a gimmick people are throwing in. At least Honda's got the button. You push it every time, and voila, that's his habit. Get in, start truck, push button, and then he didn't have to think about it anymore. If you own one, I advise doing that. The only downside you can see here with the plastic covers is it does have a rubber timing belt. So you're supposed to change every 100,000 miles. He usually keeps his vehicles 100,000 miles, and you want the absolute truth about it. I worked on the original Hondas that had the two-cylinder motorcycle engine, right? I've seen these things with 200,000 miles on them. The timing belt was never touched, and they still ran perfectly fine. That's a gamble you'd have to take because they are interference engines. But Honda makes them pretty well, and you know how many of these timing belts that I've seen broke? Okay, technically, I saw one, and it was the original Acura V6, right? And it had 370,000 miles with the original belt. And I told the customer, okay, here's what's gonna cost. He says, oh, that thing's old, I don't care. And then eventually it broke, and then he just sent it to a junkyard. It's considering that he bought it new when he put 375,000 miles. I'd say he got his money out of the car. And it's got a memory seat, all kinds of buttons for your phone. Turn that off so we don't have to listen to it. Simple cruise control. It's intelligent cruise control. Economy if you want to get a little bit better gas mileage. You can have parking sense on or off. Lane change. You can turn that stuff off. Traction control. Heated seats. Both sides. One of the things I like is, look, your whole control system here. Look, it was designed, it fits right in. I like something like this. I don't like things sticking up. That's just me. I want a clear view. These are specialty trucks. It does have a sunroof. Now I'm trying out a new scan tool. This is like a $370 scan tool. It's called RT Diag Pro, top down. We'll see how it works. Now I'm doing this because a lot of people say, Scotty, you're always using that fancy $5,000 scan tool. We're never gonna blah, blah, blah. Well, this one's only $375. We'll see what it can do. Now we're gonna have to wait a second because I just updated the firmware. You can see it's updating it. And the company claims you get 2 years of free firmware updating, so we'll see how that works over time. That's like one of those slot machines. The numbers are coming up. There it is. Knows it's 2023 Honda. And the transmission, all these different systems so far. Looks like it's doing quite a bit for a $370 scan tool. Code for the BCM. Lost communication with power window master switch. Power C control lost communication with power master switch. Maybe got wet or something. One is the AC system. Lost communication with the power window master switch. What the AC system has to do with the master switch is beyond me. Now we can see they're all gone, so let's look at some live data. We'll start her up. we'll look at live data. See, we get a lot of data. It's got 303 points, so we'll select them all and start looking at them. First thing I noticed, it's different than my other scan tools in that normal is blue. Usually it's black. This is blue. So let's start going through stuff. Fuel ratio is almost perfect, 0.99. Every once in a while it goes to 1. There it is, 1.00, which is perfect. And look at all this data it has for the air fuel system. This is just all air fuel system data. Battery's normal charging voltage. Even shows you the battery sensor current, which presently is 18.38 amps. Temperatures, perfect. You see cylinder misfire, 0 all the way down. Shows you with the inverter that this thing has. See, this particular scanner does an awful lot of information. Now, you'll see it's a little slower than my fancy one. See, you got to wait for it to fill in. My other one's instantaneous. This, when you scroll up, if you get through a certain amount, you got to wait for them to come. But then they come up. And all the data looks good. And if you're curious what it all looks like, here we go. Watch. Remember, there's 320 of these babies. As long as we're here checking it out. Look at all the services it can do. Air, fuel reset, brake reset, oil reset, SAS reset, battery reset when you change your battery if you got a car that needs it, bleeding the ABS system, resetting your tire pressure monitoring system, electronic throttle relearn, and more and more and more. Gear learn, intelligent cruise control system, all the way down to Windows calibration or tire reset if you change the size of your tire. So I gotta say, for 370 bucks or so, this looks like a pretty good scan tool so far. Stay tuned, we'll see how it goes over the years. While I was talking to the owner, I figured out what happened. Well, I had this call for the switch. He drives Uber and there was a wreck on the highway outside of Nashville, and he got out of the car, forgetting that he had left in drive. And when he opened up the door, the engine turned itself off. And he thought, what did I do? I ruined my new truck, right? Well, it's a safety thing. So you can't have it in gear and it'll be driving away when you got the door open. I've reset it. Odds are it's not going to come back unless I'm dumb enough to leave it driving and jump out the door. It saves both you and it saves your truck from driving away and hitting somebody else. So now we got it in reverse. You can see it's got a nice wide angle camera. I like that camera angle. I can see the lions. I can see the mailbox. I really have a good view. It's a really nice backup camera. I can't stand those little ones. This one is really good and I can see, okay, saying don't get too close to that mailbox, so I won't. First thing I see, it's smooth as can be. Like the owner said, he got in this thing, he drove and he said, man, this thing rides almost as good as my Camry, and he bought it. He didn't bother looking at the Fords. Just because of the less on-sprung weight and other differences in flexibility, a unibody vehicle rides much smoother. That's one reason you see most vehicles being built that way. Aside from the fact that it's cheaper to build them that way. And they weigh less, so they get slightly better gas mileage. Let's get to our little drag strip here. Now, this isn't a screaming V8, it's a V6, and it is an all-wheel drive, so it's going to handle really good. Let's see how it takes off. And ready, steady, go. It just kicked in there. Now the owner watched a lot of my videos, spent a lot of time deciding what to get, and he said he's totally happy, other than that stupid stop-start thing that he doesn't like. He's totally happy with what it does. He uses it for Uber. He likes going out in the country. He's not pulling any heavy loads. He can pull his boat or whatever he wants with the thing. It'll tow 5,000 pounds. And for a pickup truck, it's surprisingly quiet. The only thing I hear are the tires, which are relatively aggressive tread on this thing. If you like less noise, yeah, you can go for smoother tires. Very smooth shifting. It's Honda's 9-speed automatic, not CVT, an actual automatic, and it's smooth. And it also doesn't hunt for gears like the Fords often do. So what do I think about this? Is it a real truck? Well, in some respects, it's better than a real truck. Yeah, it's not a heavy load pulling truck, but for what it is, it's about as close to perfection as you can get. As you saw in this thing, it does not hunt for gears. With the unibody construction, a nice engine, 9-speed tranny, this thing is smooth. If you're looking for a smooth pickup that you can occasionally do trucky things with, you certainly can tailgate with that fancy tailgate, you might think about getting one of these things. The Honda, you know they're going to last quite some time, other than that stupid start-stop button you got to keep pushing to turn it off. It's annoying as can be. You can drive it hard, still get mid-20s gas mileage in a truck that's as fast as this and fun to drive. The Ridgelines, they're not for everybody. But for the people who want a vehicle like this, pretty good choice. There aren't that many of them out there with all the features that this thing has. And sure, you're not going to be towing 15,000 pounds, you know? It's all-wheel drive, you're not going to get stuck anywhere, plenty high enough to the ground, and it's a Honda that will probably outlast you if you drive it conservatively enough. It's not a rock climber. You take it rock climbing, yeah, you'll probably flip the thing over, right? And you like a nice ride, road test one first. You know? I mean, I've road tested the Mavericks. I like the way they ride, but seeing that they're made in Mexico, I was always kind of iffy, and now I'm really iffy because I see people who have them and they have problems. I have customers with these things. One guy runs a plumbing company, and he's got all his plumbing tools on a cap on the back. He owns 2 of these things. He's got like 220 on each one, and he's still driving them. So they can be a work truck too. And if you're thinking about getting one, I'd just say, go road test one first. See what you think. He road tested this and he bought it. He didn't even road test on the other ones. And this is a guy who had nothing but Toyota Camrys. He wanted a truck. This is the truck he got. He didn't get the Toyota because he didn't like his sons, how it handled, how it drove on a highway, and he loves this. A new Ford Maverick Lariat. The guy was waiting 15 months and he finally got it. It was a long wait. Now, was it worth the wait? Well, he's happy with it, especially his wife's happy with it. So we're going to go through it and show you what they have, what you get. Ford first said they're making these Mavericks. They said they're going to sell a pickup truck for under $20,000. Well, let's not hold our breath on that one because is what this one went for. $35,215. Now, I don't even call that close to $20,000 myself, but realize one thing. Even the F-150s, they say, here's the list price, right? Okay, last year, the average price of an F-150 that people actually paid, there's guys that research it, and it was like $61,500. Well, they say their lowest price is $29,640, but the average one that was sold in the U.S. last year went for like $61,500. So be leery of these catch you with low prices and then come in. Don't listen to the advertising hype. In this case, they're a little bit on the sneaky side, because if you look at this, what does it say? Manufactured by Ford. It just says Ford, right? But what you look at is this, 3, number 3. 3 means it's made in Mexico. So it's made in Mexico. I mean, it used to have, they say Baja de California on some of them. So you'd think it was California, but it's Baja, California, Mexico. Well, in this case, they're kind of being sneaky. They're not telling you, but yeah. They're put together in Mexico. My son's TRD Tacoma, it was made in Mexico too, and it's perfectly fine. It has a 4-cylinder gasoline engine and a hybrid motor and a battery pack. He's getting 40 miles a gallon in town around Madisonville, and he's getting 32 on the highway. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's not phenomenal, but really, come on now, it's a pickup truck. The last Ford pickup truck I worked on got 16 miles a gallon tops. It was an Explorer, an older one, right? So, you can get 40 miles a gallon in a little pickup truck. That's something. And speaking of little, that's one of the 2 main reasons he bought the truck. His wife didn't like their Ranger. It was too big. They've grown like everything else into bigger trucks, right? She didn't like it, and she didn't like how it rode. They're kind of rough riding. Well, she likes this size. It's not outrageously high, so she can easily get it out, but it's not like it's a low rider and you're going to drag on the ground. But the big deal with this hybrid is it's front-wheel drive. As you can see, the drive shafts are in the front and in the back. You can see there's no differential, no drive shafts, but you can also see it's got independent suspension in the back. And even though it's an economy vehicle, it has a spare tire. Look, an actual spare tire. With this front wheel drive, independent suspension, this rides much more like a car than it does like a truck. So it looks like a truck, but it really kind of rides like a car. We'll see when we drive it around. I've tried them before, and they all really surprised me how well they drove. Now, people are always worried about quality control from Mexico, so let's take a look around. And let's check fit. I mean, the paint is phenomenal. Here's the fit. Let's look at the other side. Well, it's exactly the same. A lot better than a Tesla. Doors are the same. What do they sound like? Sounds pretty solid to me. Check the other side. Nice and solid. No rattling. Airbags all over the place. Comfortable seats. Now, not outrageously large inside. It is a compact truck. It's not like a F-150. You could have a football game in the back seats, but still. It's got computer power outlets, 120 volt with 400 watt max because it's a hybrid. So you can put out more power. 120 volts there. It's a compact truck, so it's got a relatively compact bed, but you're not buying this to haul a bunch of junk. Got nice alloy wheels, decent sized rear disc brakes too. So if you can buy a pickup truck that your wife likes to drive and ride in, that is a big thing. Everybody keeps thinking bigger, bigger, bigger. That's why he got rid of the Ranger. Even the Ranger was too big. And an F-150 was totally out of the question, right? There's a lot of people that are happy with a smaller pickup truck. And if they've never driven one of these, my advice is just go road test one to see how they ride. But as the owner said, if you can find one, cause he did wait, a year and a half to get a hold of his, because they just weren't making them fast enough. Now it is a hybrid with a 4-cylinder gasoline engine. A lot of people are wondering about hybrids. Ford's been making these hybrids for quite some time. I had many customers with Ford hybrids and they were happy with them. Eventually they broke, but I mean, most of them broke down when they had 200,000 miles or more on them. So it's not like they're gonna fall apart in front of your very eyes. As we go inside, nice little copper touch on the inside door handle there. Really solid sound. Start her up. Of course, it won't make any noise because it's a hybrid vehicle. It won't make any noise until we start to run it. It's hybrid, everything's automatic, electronic. The transmission's all electronic, the parking brake's electronic. It's got a decent screen. It's got a remote charger here, you don't have to plug it in. If you got a phone that will accept direct charging without plugging it in. And the screen doesn't bother your view. It's not blocking like some of those Toyotas, the screens go way up. I find them annoying. This fits in there. Very comfy. Nice comfy padded armrest. And yeah, there's no sunroof, but really, come on, it's a pickup truck. Do they really need sunroofs? They got place for your sunglasses, that's good enough. Play with the settings and everything on the screen. It's got a decent touch screen. Look, it all works fine. Lots of hand controls on the steering wheel, cruise control, stereo system. You can go through the whole menu system. So of course you're gonna wanna know how this thing drives. We'll take it for a spin. It's a hybrid. If you never drove one, you gotta get kind of used to it because now it's just operating on battery power. We don't need AC, we don't need anything. There. This is one quiet truck, except it's gotta make this noise because it has to warn people. The only thing is, if I heard this noise, I wouldn't know, what am I looking for? Like, is it a lost cow with a bell ringing? I don't know, what a strange sound. But isn't the engine clunking because it has a problem? And like I said, okay, it's a truck, but really, it handles a lot more like a car. That independent suspension, we can get the bumps, you don't really feel it. Now the engine's kicking in because we're going faster. Now it's regenerating electricity, got some zip to it for a little truck. And of course, if you're not used to hybrids, you gotta get used to the odd noises and like here's the regenerating brakes. Woo! They make odd noises. 100% energy return. Gives you all the stories here. A hybrid front wheel drive Ford pickup's going out to the country. Country hasn't seen too many of these things yet. Now comes the true test. It is a Ford pickup. Would Bonnie and Clyde be happy using one of these to rob banks with? I don't know. Let's find out. Here we go. On your mark, get set, go. Now it's a CVT transmission, so of course, it doesn't have gears to shift. And it's not a race truck by any stretch of the imagination, but hey, it got going 60 miles an hour pretty quick. It's the gas mileage that these things, and a smooth ride. It's a smaller truck, smaller wheelbase, but it doesn't ride like, say, a Ford Ranger or an old Ford pickup truck like a Courier that just had springs in the back and a solid diff, and every time you hit bumps, the fillings would come out of your teeth. It's got a nice smooth ride, and like I said, you step on the gas, you can pass people. Look, it picks up pretty quickly because the electric boost motor puts out a lot of torque so you can pass. That's how it gets better gas mileage in the city. But when you gotta pass somebody, step on the gas, and the corn starts flying by a lot faster pretty quick. So it's now going on electric miles. We've gone 1.1 electric miles. And the gas mileage is going up because we're running out of electricity now. Of course, the gas mileage will stink with me driving it because I'm driving it hard just to show you what it can do. But again, when we get to the twisties, hey, this thing drives more like a car than a truck. No under oversteer, this thing is smooth. Being a hybrid, since it's got the hybrid system, when you do come to a stop, the engine turns off too. So it's really quiet. Other than that fan that's running, look how quiet it is. We'll see how the transition is when we take off. Here we go. Fast transition, you really feel the lag. Hybrids transition a lot faster than those stop and go internal combustion engines where it just turns off, so it's a lot smoother transition and it's a lot less wear on the vehicle. I don't hear any odd road noise. It looks like they put this together pretty well in Mexico. I don't hear rattling stuff. Now of course this vehicle is new. It's only got 358 miles on it. So We don't know what the test of time is going to do, but hey, this guy just lives down the road. So as time goes on, we'll check out with him to see how it's holding up over the years. If I last another 10 years, we'll see how this thing's lasting in another 10 years. But really, it's a very smooth riding little pickup truck, and a lot of that has to do with the front wheel drive system. You're not going to get the fishtailing you get with the rear wheel pickup truck, where the rear wheels are going to spin, you're going to be drifting too much. This handles the road quite well. Well, take the corner. Easy turns. You don't have to worry about it all swinging around because it's gripping in the front. The engine, the transmission is in the front, so it can pull its own weight. You don't have the rear slipping tires like you do in a regular pickup truck. Now, fans that doing burnouts aren't going to like it, but regular drivers are going to love it. Where can you get a little pickup truck and get 40 miles a gallon in town and handle so well and ride so smoothly? Here we go on a big corner. I didn't even slow down, and I didn't feel like I was losing anything. Check it out. We're just sitting there. The world's quietest pickup truck. It's running while it's sitting on battery power. We'll turn it off now. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm happy that Ford made these and they got the 4-cylinder hybrid in it. They didn't make them with the stupid 3-cylinder. Originally, they were talking about putting those 3-cylinder turbos in them, and I thought that's going to be the world's biggest mistake. They're going to blow up. They'd have all kinds of problems with them, right? No, 4-cylinder inline gasoline engine hooked up to a hybrid system. Gets phenomenal gas mileage in town and 32 on a highway. That's pretty good for a pickup truck that rides as well as this does, because the engine transmission's all in the front, on top of the drive wheels. Plenty of weight on the drive wheels so they don't slip, so they pull themselves. Vehicles pull themselves better than they push themselves. That's why most vehicles are front wheel drive these days. When you're pushing from the back, babies are going to slide all over the place, especially in the winter, snow. What's in the back of a pickup truck? Nothing. In the very back, hardly any weight. A lot of guys will put a bunch of weight in the winter just so they don't slide around. You don't even have to think about it. It's front wheel drive. And yes, they're made in Mexico. I don't see any quality controls with this particular one. It's brand new. We'll see what happens as time passes on. But as it stands now, it's solid build. It's built a lot better than a Tesla. All the panels meet. The paint was done phenomenally. It's a beautiful paint job. Like I said with the F-150s, you're supposed to be able to get one for $29,500, and the average F-150 in the United States sold for over 61 grand. So 30-something grand for a little truck that rides like this. You consider the average new car today costs over $50,000. If you want a truck that kind of drives like a car, but you want to have a little truck, definitely at least check one of these things out. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.